right? So you really got to let your teammates know when screens are coming or if you're going to switch.
Interesting thing too, there's no real way for them to prepare
Great.
for this. They've never done something like this. As Caitlin Clark pushing it.
And Clark played underneath that screen.
And Clark's feed to O'Grady.
Blown on their hands. You have to make sure it's going to be a little harder to catch the ball because your hands are cold, but players are adapting. The benches are actually heated. It's just Clark.
Put my hands together on the catch. You can't really get a good grip on the basketball, and that's what you want as a shooter.
Again, Caitlin Clark. Windows during football games. Just a delightful girl. Her favorite sport is swimming. She's on the swim team. She's so excited to be here, and she's most excited that she gets to wave from down here. Newcomers, be it transfers or freshmen. We mentioned the two very important players, starters in Warnock and Sinano that are gone, but the core of this team is back.
See the board work.
That's Stokey running the floor.
Action, you see Stokey trying to wait and get an eye from Clark to see when to set it.
Clark on the drive.
To say the least.
There's an emphasis to get O'Grady the ball, and it worked. Clark with 11 points in the first quarter. O'Grady, quick spin, and Clark using O'Grady to drive. She's got 13. She's a Hall of Famer for a reason, Megan. Caitlin Clark unloads!
Points does Caitlin Clark has? How many has she produced for the team? And I think those numbers are so incredible as well. It's just been so wonderful to see things come to fruition.
Clark with the steal. Iowa trying to push. Up by 10. Clark with a difficult layup!
We've seen a lot of that today, but I think because of all the new players, you want to get acclimated with how you shift and move.
Caitlin Clark, knock it off. The crossover at Kinnick. Clark sitting on 22 points. Molly Davis. This is for sure going to be gone.
It's packed in here, and the sun has popped out as well. So another part of the elements that you have to contend with.
Caitlin Clark, the three ball.
It's pretty excellent by Caitlin Clark, the senior.
Clark curling around the lane. Here and scoring.
Oh, just phenomenal. Megan Gustafson, obviously player of the year. She was the Honda player of the year as well.
Clark. Layups missed for Clark. There's a steal for Iowa. Sydney Afalta right there and feeds 22. Dominating this fourth quarter.
And they've applied full court pressure, and that's been the blueprint.
Gabby Marshall with a shot. Clark with the ball.
Phenomenal read defensively, staying loose on the post and jumping around in the passing lane.
Crisp passing from the Hawkeyes.
But to know that the game has gone global that way, and a lot of WNBA players play overseas, and
there it is.
Mid-range, another year, but Caitlin Clark, it's just effortless for her. Just smooches it off the window.
Falter.
Yeah, the law firm owned by Clark, but now a couple of new partners to connect with. A great dime right there in transition to O'Grady. Just a perfectly placed pass. Well, Caitlin Clark has picked up right where she left off last year. She led the country in assists last year, but this time it's a reversal. It's Goodman to Clark, who takes the nice
to the bigs as often as possible.
But just look at her eyes, the way that she surveys. She's just a puppeteer when it comes to what she wants the defense to do, and the ease in which she can score the basketball is phenomenal. But right here, the connection of the dots with Hannah Stokey has been able to do extremely well is play together and play the angles. And look at Clark right in subject. Iowa right now feeling very comfortable outside here in the football stadium. Caitlin Clark sizing up the defense and finding her way downhill. Another smooth. Well, Caitlin Clark has put on her cape here in Iowa City, knocking down her patented pull-up triple in transition. At least 3 feet behind the line, no problem. And then the little shrug afterwards for emphasis to let you know, I do this often.
140 made threes for her last year, led the country. I thought what was amazing watching their run in the NCAA tournament.
Mama, there she goes again. Caitlin Clark getting downhill in transition, connected with the body, and getting the bucket to go. Just a phenomenal finish by the senior. She just gets her head down. She's been in the weight room. She's luck with it.
Already up to 20 points this afternoon.
I mean, she just goes by 2 and 3 defender. I thought I'd seen it all from Caitlin Clark, but I'm wrong. Look at this one. I think they're gonna count that. We'll see Caitlin Clark right here on the previous drive. Just a whirling dervish to the rim and got hit. You hear that whistle, you throw the ball to the basket. They love to push the tempo. That's why they led the country in scoring last year with 87 a game. Amali Davis heads
over at Kinnick.
Well, it's a magical moment this afternoon in Iowa City, and this crossover, oh, she's not over there, she's over here. Caitlin Clark, 24 points, 7 assists and 5 boards. Watch this little shift. Oh, shift and move, freeze them, stepping through. She is
halftime, different than what you're used to seeing as well. And then 2 more quarters of action between DePaul and Iowa as the Hawkeyes take a break with a 15-point lead here at the crossover at Kinnick.
Well, listen, the sun came out and I said, hey, you know, the sun's out, it might get in the way and be a distraction. Not for Caitlin. Here's Caitlin Clark coming off. A little dribble handoff, and the catch and shoot ability off of D.
Very comfortable driving.
No, 3-pointers from the outside, 3-pointers from the inside. What can Caitlin Clark?
As Iowa has stretched the lead to 22. Caitlin Clark with the sun shining down upon her.
Every time the sun comes out, it seems like that brings out the best in Caitlin Clark. She nails her 3rd triple of the afternoon. Just phenomenal in terms of her ability to get set and release it up high and knock in another moon ball for the Hawkeyes. Well, it's just beautiful basketball, starting with the defense. Staying nice and loose, getting into the passing lane for the steal was Caitlin Clark. And then the behind-the-back pass right there by Kate Martin. And then the dime down to Hannah Stolke, the sophomore. But look, she's gonna draw 2 defenders, draw 2, C4, and she saw the
statistic that stands out most is 55,646 people here to watch it.
The one that was gonna